कौन स्क्रीन स्क्रीन शेयर हो
आज्ञा स्क्रीन शेयर हे पानी सर देखत जाउ
स्क्रीन शेयर साउंड कौन
हां सर साउंड रे प्रॉब्लम लाग
स्क्रीन शेयर नहीं हो अच्छा भाई मुझे के देख कौन हो प्रॉब्लम हो अटेंड
आज्ञा आज्ञा
स्क्रीन शेयर हैला की
आज्ञा आज्ञा
हैला नहीं स्क्रीन शेयर कासी तो
सर स्क्रीन शेयर तो होउची
होउनी
होउची होउची किंतु हां होउची सर देखो
ମୋ ସ୍କ୍ରିନ୍ କି କାଇଁ ଆସୁନି? ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ସ୍କ୍ରିନ୍ ସେୟାର ହେଲା। ଆଇ ହୋପ ଯେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଦେଖା ଯାଉଛି ନା ନାହିଁ? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ।
ସାର୍ ଦେଖାଯାଉଛି ତ?
ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି। ନାଇଁ ଡେସ୍କଟପ୍ ଟାରେ କ'ଣ ଟିକେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହଉଥିଲା ନା? Now it's a cognitive function. Unit 3 block. Today it's MPCE-12 psychodynamics say paper, test of cognitive functions. Unit 1 measures of intelligence and conceptual thinking. Now it's a measurement part, the third unit. Unit 2 measurement of conceptual thinking, the Binet and Wessler scale. Then Unit 3 measurement of creativity, memory and creativity. Unit 4 utility of data from the tests of cognitive function. These are the 4 units. The first unit is measures of intelligence and conceptual thinking. Now coming to this unit, mu jauchi godauchi. Block 3 introduction rahichi, introduction about the measurement aspects. And now measures of intelligence and conceptual thinking. The objectives of this unit, this block, after completing this, you will be able to describe the history of intelligence assessment. History of intelligence assessment means how the measurement of intelligence has started long back around the latter part of the 19th century, and how it has come up to date. All about measurement of intelligence, and describe some of the important measures used for intellectual assessment. Explain Stanford Binet scale, elucidate Woodcock-Johnson's battery, then describe Raven's progressive matrices, Kaufman assessment battery for children and for adolescents and for adults, elucidate the differential ability scales, explain the cognitive assessment system, analyze the controversies concerned with IQ testing, and discuss the future perspectives of intelligence test. Eguda kala objective. Mostly this unit is dedicated to measurement aspects of different intellectual, cognitive, and memory and other kinds of cognitive skills. Now, history of intelligence assessment. History of intelligence assessment says that the assessment of intelligence was conceived in a theoretical void and boom into a theoretical vacuum. During the last half of the 19th century, the last part of the 19th century, Francis Galton in England and then Alfred Binet in France took turn in developing the leading intelligence test of the day. ମୁଁ ଖାଲି ଟିକେ ଟିକେ କହିଦଉଛି ଏଇଥିପାଇଁ ଟିକେ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ବ୍ୟାକଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ ଦ ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ ଟେଷ୍ଟ କେମିତି ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା, କେମିତି ତା ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ହେଲା, କଣ କଣ ଚେଞ୍ଜେସ୍ ହେଲା, କାହିଁକି ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା, all those things I will be just telling you in brief. Galton was interested in men of genius and Eugenides developed his test for a very simplistic theory that people take the information through their senses. So the most intelligent people must have the best developed senses. What a basic idea, vague idea about intelligence. The people take information through their sense organs. Whatever information is available to us in the environment, we use those informations through our sense organs and interpret and understand those kind of things. Sensory organ madhyamare anuchu, ebong the person who is more intelligent will have the better ability to these things you can read. There is nothing very. Now let us come to specific kinds of intelligence testing. One, Wechsler scales. Wechsler's intelligence scale for children ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି ଏବଂ Wechsler's intelligence scale Wes and Whisk ଦିଟା ନାଁ ତାର. Wes ହେଲା Wechsler's intelligence scale for adults ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା Wechsler's intelligence scale Whisk, Wechsler's intelligence scale for children. ବୟସ ଅନୁସାରେ ଦି ପ୍ରକାରର ଟେଷ୍ଟ ଅଛି. Wechsler Bellevue intelligence scale was developed and published by David Wechsler. A test ଆସିଛି around 1896. The last was revised in 1995 and subsequently a test ମଧ୍ୟ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ସମୟରେ ରିଭାଇଜ. ମୁଁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଖାଲି ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ଯେତେ ଗୁଡେ ଅଛି ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ ମେଜରମେଣ୍ଟ ର କହିବି. IQ କଣ, IQ ରେ କେମିତି ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଇଛି, କଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଭର୍ସି କଣ ହେଇଛି, ସବୁ those things we will be discussing. ତେଣୁ ଆମର ବେସିକ ଟପିକ ହେଲା ମେଜରମେଣ୍ଟ and first is intelligence. ପ୍ରଥମେ ଆମେ ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ ମେଜରମେଣ୍ଟ କଥା କହିବୁ. The test was revised in 1955 and is renamed Wechsler's adult intelligence scale. ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଯାହା available ସେଟା revised scale ହଉଛି Wechsler ର. କେତେ ମାନେ after trying different kinds of tests from 1896 onwards, several versions of the scale and the final version, a revised version, Wechsler intelligence scale are 1981, 97, lots of revision, even 2008 ରେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଗୋଟେ revision ହେଇଛି. These are some of the history of Wechsler scale for adult, Wes. Now, Wes 3 consists of 7 individual verbal sub. ଗୋଟିଏ ଆଡୁ ଆମେ recent ଯୋଉଗୁଡାକ କଣ କହୁଛି ଶୁଭୁଛି ତ? Is it audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
ଶୁଭୁଛି. ତେଣୁ ଆମେ ଖାଲି ଟିକେ ଟିକେ ହିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ତମେ ପଢିଦବ, କେବେ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିଥିଲେ, କଣ ହେଇଥିଲା, କେତେଟା ରିଭିଜନ ହେଇଛି. ଯେତେବେଳେ Wechsler ସ୍କେଲ ଉପରେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ଆସିବ, these are a historical background. It has some importance for the subsequent explanation of the test. ତେଣୁ ଆମେ କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲେନ କରୁଛି Wechsler 3, Wechsler's adult intelligence scale for adults. The Wes 3 consists of 7 individual verbal subtests. And when it is for adult, largely it is a verbal test. And there are 7 categories of information being collected by this test. One, what are the verbal subtests? Information. One part of the test examines to what extent you are informed about your environment around things around you and all that. Your conscious awareness about your environment. And then the second part of the test consists of similarities. Similarities means some of the items that you will be given in this test, you will have to examine how do they go together. What are the kinds of similarities among them, and how do you respond to those similarities in that situation? That is second verbal. These are all verbal tests. And then arithmetic. So, all the time, most of the intelligent people who are examining the intelligence of people, they believe that arithmetical abilities or functioning in arithmetic is one of the most important aspect of someone's mental skill, intelligence. That is why that is another part of this was, that is arithmetic. And then vocabulary. Vocabulary means how do you say, what do you say, how much you can how much of things you can express in language, and how to what extent also you are able to understand things being spoken to you. ତମକୁ କିଏ କଣ କହୁଛି ତମେ କେତେ ବୁଝୁଛ, ତମେ କାହାକୁ କଣ କହୁଛ ସେମାନେ କେତେ ବୁଝୁଛନ୍ତି. That kind of test is a part of this. Means he said that these are the constituent parts of one's intelligence and functioning. ଜଣଙ୍କର intelligence ପାଇଁ these are the necessary parts. Then comprehension, common thing. These are all kind of academically loaded, academic system loaded tests. Comprehension, another dimension. Comprehension means to what extent you understand things in a context, in a difficult expression, in a kind of situation where you are supposed to get meaning out of that. Comprehension means getting meaning out of a kind of situation. And then digit span, number, how many numbers you are supposed to keep at a time. Supposing someone said you a phone number, are you able to remember that number in one go? That is span. And then letter numbering sequencing. These are some kind of activities which nowadays we largely call as analytical reasoning. Now all those kinds of tests which you undertake in different kinds of examinations, reasoning test, and these are some of the aspects, that is letter numbering and that. And 7, performance. Now the test, as I have told you, it is a this adult intelligence scale is a combination of verbal and non-verbal tests. ମୁଁ discuss କରୁଛି OS ର most latest kind of thing, latest. या ପରେ ଗୋଟେ device ହେଇଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ OS 3 is most popular. ତାର କଣ କଣ ରହିଛି, 7ଟା verbal component ରହିଛି, ଯୋଉଟା ମୁଁ କହିଲି information, similarities, arithmetic, vocabulary, comprehension, digit span, and letter numbering sequence. ସେମିତି non-verbal part ମଧ୍ୟ ରହିଛି. Non-verbal intelligence part ମଧ୍ୟ ରହିଛି. ତା ଭିତରେ ରହିଛି picture completion, means you will be the performer will be given a task where a picture is not completed. It is half available. Supposing a human face, it is there, but parts of the human face, but there are difficult items, picture completion kind of thing. ଗୋଟେ ପାର୍ଟରେ ଗୋଟେ ଅଧା ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି, and the rest of the things you will have to find out what part of a subsequent picture will complete that. ମୁଁ ଯଦି ମତେ ସମୟ ହବ, ମୁଁ ଲାଷ୍ଟକୁ କେତେଟା ଜିନିଷ ଲେଖିକି ରଖୁଛି. If time will be there, I will be showing, demonstrate ମୁଁ କରିଦେବି ଏଇଠି. ଗୋଟେ ହେଲା ମୁଁ କରିଦେବି କଣ picture completion. এই non-verbal item କିଛି ମୁଁ ଦେଖେଇଦେବି ଏରେ ଗଲା. Then picture arrangement. These are all non-verbal. The respondent or the subject needs to carry out some activities or non-verbally. He has not to express anything, because this model believes that human intelligence has both components. It is being supported by a verbal component and also by a non-verbal component. Verbal component ଅଛି non-verbal. ତେଣୁ verbal component ର ଯୋଉଗୁଡାକ ସାତଟା କହିଦେଲା ପରେ ତାପରେ non-verbal component. Picture completion, picture arrangement, block design, object assembly, matrix reasoning, digit symbol, symbol search. ମୁଁ ପରେ ବୁଝେଇଦେବି ୟାକୁ ମାନେ ଏଥିରୁ କେତେଟା ମୁଁ ପରେ ମାନେ ଲାଷ୍ଟ ଆଡ଼ିକି କହିଦେବି ଯେ these are the kinds of things. ତେଣୁ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆମେ ଏତିକି ଖାଲି ଜାଣିଲେ ଯେ ଯଦି ଆମର if you get something about Wechsler's adult intelligence scale, then these are the 7 verbal components and 1 2 performance ତାକୁ non-verbal component ବି କହିପାରିବ ବା performance component ବି କହିପାରିବ. Each subtest includes a variety of items that assesses a particular intellectual skills of interest. The vocabulary subset includes a list of words that vocabulary OS 3 generally takes about 1 to 1.5 hours to individually administer someone between अच्छा OS test तमर कौनसी intelligence test आगुर practical कराइछि कि
Ravens.
Raven થઈ સારી इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट हिसाब रे माने कहू जे एई तमर एई कोर्स पाई
No, sir.
नहीं कोर्स
हैं?
विषय सर है
नहीं,
Ravens
तमर
विषय सर जान
नहीं तमे माने पर्सनल
Sir,
कथा
ଏଠି ହେଇନି sir ଏଠି ହେଇନି
एठे सर किछि
अच्छा हो ठीक अछि मु तुमको माने टेस्ट गोटे गोटे कोन तुमको मु कहना अल्टीमेटली आमे पुणी सेगुडा को प्रैक्टिकल करबा जदि हो रावेन्स मु देखेबी नाले ठीक अछि वर्तमान एथि डिटेल्स रहिला टेस्ट डिस्क्रिप्शन पिक्चर कंप्लीशन मु जो सातटा कहि देली ओएस रो तार डिस्क्रिप्शन रहिला एथि पिक्चर कंप्लीशन the set of color pictures of common objects and settings each of which is missing an important part that the examinee must identify गोटे पिक्चर थिबो सपोजिंग गोटे मु जो कहिली गोटे ह्यूमन फेस थिबो जोतरे गोटे कान नथिबो and you will have to find out among the what part is missing that is but adult मान पिक्चर आ पार्ट टिके कॉम्प्लिकेशन एते कानटे न थाई कि पिक्चर खाली नुहे बहुत दिन से रहिबो then a series of orally and visually presented words that the examinee orally defines गोटे दिन से देखाई जाइथिबो तुम कह जिवो एटा कोन कह ताको एक्सप्लेन करो you have to explain the thing verbally मन करो गोटे कोन गोटे डैम नईर डैम टे देखी तमें ताकू एक्सप्लेन करिवो व्हाट इज दिस एंड व्हाट इज द फंक्शन लाइक दैट इट इज माने जस्ट खाली एग्जांपल भलिया कहि दोची देन डिजिट सिंबल एनकोडिंग ब्लॉक डिजाइन मु केतटा जिंस मैट्रिक्स रीजनिंग एक्चुअली वर्तमान देखे देले टिके माने ये ही जिवो तमे खाली मन रखो मु याकू काढी किरी पुणी देखेइबी गड़ी गड़ी जाउछ लेटर नंबर सीक्वेंसिंग ऑब्जेक्ट असेंबली एगुडा के सब टेस्ट कोन ए भितरे डिस्क्राइब कराइछि जदि तमर ओएस ऊपर कोनोसी क्वेश्चन आसिला तार टिके हिस्टोरिकल बैकग्राउंड तार वर्बल सब टेस्ट कोन नॉन वर्बल बा परफॉर्मेंस टेस्ट कोन एवं प्रति टेस्ट रो काम कोन करा जाय से टेस्ट सेतिकी देखियो गोला any question about this OS गोटे इंपोर्टेंट प्रश्न जार कि तमे कोन किए बाहर करथिले केबे बाहर करथिले हाउ मेनी टाइम्स इट हैज बीन रिवाइज्ड कोन रिवीजन हेंची एवं लेटेस्ट रिवीजन अनुसार OS 3 आमे OS 4 को अटेंड करूनु OS 3 इज द लेटेस्ट रिवीजन ता भितरे कोन माने कंपोनेंट्स अछि गोटे वर्बल गोटे नॉन वर्बल वर्बल ले 7टा नॉन वर्बल ले 7टा वर्बल ले कोन कंपोनेंट 7टा कोन तार मीनिंग नॉन वर्बल ले कोन बा टास्क कोन से माने नॉन वर्बल ले कंपोनेंट 7टा तार कोन टास्क व्हाट आर द टास्क and then how the test is to be administered This is a very common thing. There is nothing to explain. Kemiti administer karibo. Administer lekhaiti. Then asla OS 4. Another, you may get a question on OS 3 or OS 4 specifically, because 10 marks question cannot be both. Now, there are 4 index scores representing major component. OS 3 re em koideli 7ta verbal, 7ta performance, adult. Then OS 4 re kon achi? OS 4 means the advanced version, the more advanced version. तापर बाहर 2008 रे it was being now the OS 4 the structural aspect is also different. There are 4 index scores representing major components of intelligence. Either intelligence conceptual nature को मतलब change कराई in this test. What is that? Verbal comprehension index. Charita index रे, it has been pointed out that there are 4 indexes for the measurement of intelligence, or any intelligent activity constitute 4 index. Charita index intelligence ro achi. Gotala one is verbal comprehension, second one is perceptual reasoning, third one is working memory, and fourth one is the processing speed index. These 2 are new added systems to the old OS 3 पर. ये जो perceptual working memory, although those were some items in the earlier test having some use of working memory, but specific working memory as a component of intelligence was not there. And another thing, speed. Speed is also a factor of intelligence. If 2 persons are doing the same thing, someone is doing less than other, then the person who is doing faster is definitely supposed to be more intelligent. Then these are the kinds of things. Similarities, vocabulary, information tara, then comprehension, then perceptual reasoning re block design, matrix reasoning. See, saman jinso sabu rahikiri organize karala, and finally processing speed pai symbol search, coding, and cancellation. New tasks bhatti karahala. Any question? I told you about Whistler's adult intelligence scale. Be arambha hala, kiye arambha korithile, kon revised hela, ebong third revision jota ki which has become a popular test, third revision re kon heitila, ebong finally there was another revision which we call the 4th revision, OS 4. Sithre kon change heichi. These are the things. Etik tomar janiba dakare for a kind of question. Then intelligence for a test of cognitive functions. The broad scores are also generated which can be used to summarize the general intellectual ability. Full scale IQ based on total combined performance of all those 4. But प्रश्न आसला जे we have applied an intelligence test to a person. We got some information about the person on all these 4 dimensions. तार VSI जो 4th model अनुसारे बा 4th revision अनुसारे हमें जानिलु तार VCI score एतिकी, PRI score एतिकी, WMI score एतिकी, PSI score एतिकी. Now the question is, someone will ask us, what is his or her intelligence status? तार intelligence कौन? So we have to perform certain things, certain calculations or conversion models, so that we can say that this person having this performance is having this kind of level of intelligence. That intelligence is here. जो हमें express करिबो IQ रे. So by using Whistler's adult intelligence scale, finally we come up to a score about a person on his IQ or his or her IQ. That IQ एतिकी. सेटा केमिति कन्वर्सन हबो जनरल तापरे जनरल ability index गोटे अछि. General ability index based on only 6 subtests that comprises general are different use. These are some of the use. IQ ame bahar kolu. Full scale IQ. Tapar tara full scale IQ is one part. Another thing is that sometimes we will not be interested in somebody that he is that intelligent. Sometimes we will be interested in somebody about his functional level of intelligence, general ability index. जोटा कि संपूर्ण आईक्यू न कही करी तार आउ गोटे आईक्यू विषय समथिंग विल बुझी पारछ ना ये कांसेप्ट ता आमे ओएस एडमिनिस्टर कलु पुराना मॉडल अछि OS 3 नुआ मॉडल अछि OS 4 but if we are supposed to use it we are supposed to use now the new model. In the new model there are 4 levels of measurement, 4 aspects of measurement by constituents of measurement जोटा कि आमे कहूछु PCI PRI W जोटा आगुर मु तार फुल फॉर्म कहली एवं से चारिटा नै गला परे आमे जनकर से चारिटा स्कोर रु the method has been developed with आमे ताकू यूज करी करी जनकर IQ कहि दे परिबु the person is like having like this IQ that is an estimation of someone's intelligence आमे कहबे लोकर या IQ कैलकुलेशन करी करी ओखन तबे प्रैक्टिकल करिवो से जानि परिबो उडा आउ गोटे हला सब जाके यूज न करी करी केवल VCI और PRI VCI देखै दो मु कोन VCI verbal comprehension index PRI perceptual reasoning index एई दिटा को नै करी आमे जनकर स्कोर बाहर करि पारि जोटा को कहउछि जनरल एबिलिटी इंडेक्स means it is believed that these two abilities of intelligence are more commonly used and more useful for conducting one's life processes हमर बुद्धि बहुत हे कि हम कोन काम करिबो से अलग कथा but some intelligent aspects of our intelligence are more required even for our daily functioning our functioning by दरकार जोटा कि समान they have identified as general ability index and ता भितर दीटा सेटा मध्ये जनकर बाहरी पाडिबो एति कि हला ओएस रो मॉडल गोटे इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट मु कहितली से साधारण भाव रे अन्य गुडाकर माने मॉड्यूलर एस्पेक्ट्स नियरली सेम पाखा पाखी आमे जिबा से गुडा को किंतु ओएस कहला परे एनी क्वेश्चन इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट आमे आरंभ कले ओएस मु आगो कहितली किए कोन केबे बाहर थला कोन वर्जन्स अछि प्रेजेंट वर्जन रे दीटा जो अछि तार कोन एकदम करंट वर्जन जो ओएस 4 तार कोन स्ट्रक्चर एवं कोन यूटिलिटी हला दीटा जिंस बाहरिबो आईक्यू बाहरिबो सो दैट आमे जन को जानि परिबो से केते माने व्हाट इज द लेवल ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस ऑफ ए पर्सन आ गोटे हला गोटे माने जीएआई बाहरिबो जोटा कि यूजफुल इंटेलिजेंस फॉर डेली एक्टिविटीज से बहुत बुद्धियाई कि बहुत किछ न करि पारे बट सर्वाइवल इंटेलिजेंस जा तार पाखरे अछि ए विषय में कहि परिबो देन नेक्स्ट कार किछ पचरिबार नै मु पचले मु कंटिन्यू करि जाउछि देन वेस्लर स्केल फॉर चिल्ड्रन वेस्लर्स इंटेलिजेंस स्केल फॉर चिल्ड्रन विस्क जेमती अडल्ट मानक पई हमर स्केल तयारी हिची सेमती पिला मानक पई मध्य अलगा स्केल काहे कि ना कॉमनली इट इज बिलीव्ड दैट the level of intellectual functioning of children are not same as that of the adults. We cannot use the same structure and same scale for children and adult to measure their intelligence. पिलामानक पे जो जिंस मेजर करिवु जो स्ट्रक्चर देई कि मेजर करिवु अडल्ट मानकु सेया मेजर कले हबनी बा अडल्ट मानक स्केल आडी पिलांगु देले सेटा प्रॉपर मेजरमेंट हबनी सेति पई वेस्लर स्केल हैज बोथ फॉर्म्स पिलामानक पे अलगा अडल्ट मानक पे अलगा एबो ताकर स्केल रो दीटा सेमति विस्क रो मध्य रिवाइज्ड वर्जन हे कि फाइनली विस्क 4 रे मध्य सेमति जिंस रहिछि समान जिंस वर्बल कॉम्प्रिहेंशन परसेप्चुअल रीजनिंग वर्किंग मेमोरी एंड प्रोसेसिंग स्पीड एगुडा को मध्य माने द बेसिक कंपोनेंट्स ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस बीइंग मेजर्ड बाय विस्क आर सेम फॉर चिल्ड्रन एंड adults but the nature of item provided in whisk and whisk are different difficulty level of the item जो आइटम ता माने वर्बल कॉम्प्रिहेंशन पे पिला को दिया हिची से आइटम ता अडल्ट कर वर्बल कॉम्प्रिहेंशन पे द लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी हैज बीन रेज्ड हायर डिफिकल्टी रो दिया हिची मु कतटा जिंस देखै देबी विस्क 4 तापरे आउ दे छी माने डेवलपमेंट जोटा कि very recent development का ये रहा जोटा कि माने primary and pre-primary पिलांग पाई माने basically I have to say that intelligence measurement with respect to WIS and WES, there are three standard measurements. One for adults beyond 11, 12 years of age, and then one for children in school years, and another from children in preschool and primary school years. Age अनुसार तार standard तार ये सब रही ची. सेमती सेमती आउ गोटे अछि जोटा कहउछि WPPSI Wessler Intelligence Scale for pre-primary school, pre and primary school children. 4 ବର୍ଷରୁ 6 ବର୍ଷ 6 ବର୍ଷରୁ 12 ବର୍ଷ and then finally beyond that adult scale. Any question Wessler's complete କରିଦେଲି माने we have to proceed quickly ତେଣୁ Wessler କରିଦେଲି ମୁଁ ଖାଲି କେତେ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଦେଖେଇଦେବି and then Stanford Binet. Actually the original movement of intelligence measurement was being created by Stanford Binet, and they have really contributed a lot to the intelligence movement, measurement of intelligence movement. The theoretical model for Stanford Binet, जेमती आमे सेठी से हम कहले जे इंटेलिजेंस रो ए गुडा को component ये मध्य समान component गुडा करे nearly there is an agreement about them. Then but he has developed on certain deviation, on certain changes in the model. Tanka model vitre some deviations, some differences are there. Deviations we cannot just say, but some differences are there. And in approach also some differences are there. Kon tanka model they said that one aspect of intelligence is fluid reasoning. Fluid reasoning means to what extent the person, the child, or the testee or the subject is able to make a take his reasoning process in different contexts and conditions. When context changes, whether he or she is able to apply the adequate logic and reasoning for that. That is fluid reasoning. And then next is knowledge. Intelligence component model because you know you will have to face questions on each of these things. WES, and then you may be asked on this Binet, Stanford Binet Simon kinds of tests. And basic fluid reasoning, knowledge. Knowledge is also a part and system of your intelligence. To what extent you are knowledgeable, it will also contribute to your intelligence. Then quantitative reasoning, then verbal, spatial processing, and working memory, administration and scoring of Stanford Binet. ମୁଁ ଏଟା ପଢେଇ ଦେଲା ପରେ ଭାବୁଛି ଟିକେ ତମକୁ ଦେଖେଇ ଦେବି ଇଏ ଆଚ୍ଛା ଏଇଟା ରଖିକିରି ମୁଁ ଦେଖୁଛି ଆଇ ଏମ୍ ଟ୍ରାଇଂ if it is possible. Sharing time. The sharing home to अच्छा फर्स्ट सम टाइम मु ए शेयरिंग को काटी देगिरी काई शेयरिंग होनी जानी पारुनी ना मु जोटा शेयर करिया पे जाउथली सेटा काई शेयरिंग होनी मु एक्चुअली डायरेक्टली तार ई कराउ जे तमे जदी माने जानिया पे चाहूचो मु खाली गोटे जिनिस कहि दउची तमे जदी देखिबा पे चाहूचो एई आइटम गुडा को केमिति यूज हुए एवं केमिति काम करे तम निज मोबाइल की जाइकिरी नॉन वर्बल रीजनिंग बाय नॉन वर्बल रीजनिंग इंडिया बिक्स माने एपटे रही के जे तमे ऑपरेट करि पारुचो मो जिनस सुबुची ना नहीं मु कोन कहूची ना कटि गला
सर सुबुची
सर
दे रहा सर
हां माने मु खाली एटा को जो देखे पे मु स्क्रीन शेयर कला बेल को से स्क्रीन शेयर रे नौनी कोन प्रॉब्लम होची मु कहि परिबिनी किंतु तमे जो आइटम गुडा को मु कहिया पे चाहूची
गूगल रे शो करूची
स्क्रीन रे शो कला
सर सेटा मारिले गूगल रे शो करची सेटा
हाँ इंडिया बिक माने मो की मु जो स्क्रीन रे यूज करची सेटा रे कोन शो करला नहीं तो मते शो कलानी
नहीं सर आपन को शो करनी हमको भी देखोनी सेटा शो करनी
हाँ नहीं तमे जदी टिके जानिबा पे चाहूचो मु खाली या कहूची तमे गोटे जाइकरी तमरो देखि दियो मन कर वर्बल नॉन वर्बल रीजनिंग India BICS. ବାହାରିଲା ତମ ନିଜର ମୋବାଇଲରେ ବାହାରିଲା ମୁଁ ପୁଣି ଏଇ ମାନେ ଯୋଉଟା ସ୍କ୍ରିନ୍ ସେୟାର କରି ହଉଛି ମୁଁ କରିଦେଲି କିନ୍ତୁ ଖାଲି ତମକୁ ଆଇଡିଆ ଦବା ପାଇଁ ବାହାରିଲା କି ନନ୍ ଭର୍ବାଲ ରିଜନିଂ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆଜ୍ଞା
ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ
ବାହାରିଛି।
ହଁ ତା ଭିତରେ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ଆସ୍ପେକ୍ଟ ଗୁଡାକ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ଏଇ ଯୋଉଗୁଡାକ ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସ୍ କଲେ ଯୋଉ ଆସ୍ପେକ୍ଟ ଗୁଡାକ ମନେକର ଏରିଥମେଟିକାଲ ରିଜନିଂ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡା ସବୁ ଆମେ ଡିସ୍କସ୍ କଲେ ଏଗୁଡାକ ସବୁ ତା ଭିତରେ ଅଛି ତମେ ତାର ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଭଳିଆ ଦେଖିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହିଁଲେ ସବୁ ନନ୍ ଭର୍ବାଲ ପାର୍ଟଟାର ଅଛି ଅଛନ୍ତି ଭର୍ବାଲ ମାରିଲେ ଭର୍ବାଲ ପାର୍ଟର ବି ଆସିବ ତମେ ନିଜେ ଯେତେବେଳେ କାହାର ମାନେ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ୟୁଜ କରିକି ପରୀକ୍ଷା କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହିଁବ you can use that କଣ ମାରିକିରି ଗୋଟେ ମାରିକିରି ଦେଖିଲ ଏନିଥିଙ୍ଗ ନନ୍ ଭର୍ବାଲ ରିଜନିଂ ର କଣ କଣ ବାହାରିଲା ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୱାଣ୍ଟିଟେଟିଭ ରିଜନିଂ ବାହାରିଥିବ ଦେଖ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
କ୍ୱାଣ୍ଟିଟେଟିଭ ମାରିକିରି ବାହାର କର ଦେଖ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ ଆଇଟମ ତା ଭିତରୁ କଣ କଣ କ୍ୱାଣ୍ଟିଟେଟିଭ ରିଜନିଂ ର ଆଇଟମ କଣ ସେମିତି ଦେଖିବ ସେ ଯୋଉ ଲିଷ୍ଟ ଅଫ ପ୍ରୋସେସେସ୍ ଦୋଜ ଆର୍ ଅଲସୋ ପାର୍ଟସ ଯୋଉଗୁଡାକ ଆମର ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ପାଇଁ ଏବଂ ବିଭିନ୍ନ କମ୍ପିଟିସନ ପାଇଁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଆମେ ୟୁଜ କରୁଛୁ
ସାର୍ ଫିଗର ମେଟ୍ରିକ୍ସ
ହେଁ
ସାର୍ ଫିଗର ମେଟ୍ରିକ୍ସ ର ଦେଖୁ ଶୋ କରୁଛି
ହଁ
ଗୋଟେ
ଫିଗର ମ୍ୟାଟ୍ରିକ୍ସ ଦେଖେଇବ ହଁ ଫିଗର ମ୍ୟାଟ୍ରିକ୍ସ ଦେଖେଇବ ମାନେ ଯୋଉଗୁଡାକ ତମର ନନ୍ ଭର୍ବାଲ ଯୋଉ ଫ୍ଲୁଇଡ ରିଜନିଂ ପାଇଁ ଭିଜୁଆଲ ସ୍ପାସିଆଲ ପ୍ରୋସେସିଂ ପାଇଁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଅଛି ତେଣୁ ମୁଁ ଖାଲି ତମକୁ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ହିସାବରେ ଜାଣ ଯେ ତମେ whenever you need to explain those kind of things these are the kinds of sources available which you can apply ଗଲା इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट रो आमे दीटा मेजर जिंस डिस्कशन करदेले तापर आ गोटे आसला रावेन्स प्रोग्रेसिव मैट्रिसेस आमे तळे जेतेबेले आमे प्रैक्टिकल ता करबा जो जो गुडा हम प्रैक्टिकल करबा आमे सेतेबेले गुडा मध्ये यूज करबा मोर अछि एई पेपर रो तीनटा प्रैक्टिकल मध्ये तीनटा क्लास अछि जोथरे मु तीनटा प्रैक्टिकल पढेइबी ए पेपर पई सिथरे गुटे बोधे माने इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट कोन पढाबो तेणु आम चूज करवा वेदर आम ओएस पढ़ा कि रावेन्स पढ़ा जहाँ गोटे टेस्ट यूज करवा अच्छा बर्तमान राघव हाँ एनी क्वेश्चन एनीथिंग फॉर डिस्कशन
सर हमर प्रैक्टिकल रे अछि सेंटेंस कंप्लीशन टेस्ट कैट
हाँ
रोटाटिव ब्लड टेस्ट न्यूरो साइकोलॉजिकल टेस्ट इंटरव्यूइंग प्रैक्टिस एंड लैबोरेटरी ड्रॉ ए पर्सन टेस्ट बेट्स डिप्रेशन इन्वेंटरी स्टेट ट्रेट एंजाइटी स्केल
अच्छा यही पेपर एटा पूरा क्लिनिकल पेपर गुड़ाक सब क्लिनिकल प्रैक्टिकल आम यादव करवा कौन इंटेलिजेंस ना इंटेलिजेंस बोधे आउ को पेपर रे थिबो
सर सर मु भाबुची काउंसलिंग रे अछि बोधे इंटेलिजेंट टेस्टिंग सर काउंसलिंग रे अछि वेस्ट
हाँ हाँ
स्टैंडर्ड प्रोग्रेसिव मैट्रिसेस
अच्छा ताले से माने जे काउंसलिंग पढ़ेबे से प्रैक्टिकल पढ़ेबे मु तमरो जो गुड़ाक अछि मु ता भितर तीनटा पढ़ेइ देबी जो जो गुड़ाक अछि
आगे
आमे बाकी तीनटा ता भितर जोटा तमरो ये हबो आमे कॉमन जिंस जो गुड़ाक अछि हम तक पढ़ेबा वर्तमान खाली यही
पाठटा
पता
କରିବାକୁ ପଡିବ ନା?
ये पेपर रे कोर्स रे यार होइला किंतु प्रैक्टिकल रे नाही छाड़ो ठीक अछि रावेन्स प्रोग्रेसिव मैट्रिसेस द नेक्स्ट थिंग सेम दी जेमती आमे बट इट्स ए लार्जली नॉन वर्बल टेस्ट काहेकि ना दिस द some of the theories and models they proposed and believed that the non-verbal component if we use the verbal component for intelligence then it will not be a culture free intelligence but it is a verbality is a kind of a culturally loaded fact किए केते कथा कहबो को कथा रे के पारंगम verbal when it comes to verbal expressions it has a cultural dimension तेणु in order to make tests which will be applicable for all different kinds of culture अमेरिका पिला को देई हबो इंडिया रे पिला को देई हबो समस्त की देई हबो सेति पे some kind of non verbal tests were being proposed and Raven's progressive matrices is one of the leading tests of intelligence and non-verbal test, non-verbal intelligence test. And similarly, like other tests also, it has two versions. One is Raven's progressive matrices for adults. The name is standard Raven's progressive matrices, standard progressive matrices. And another is RCPM, Raven's colored progressive matrices, and it is largely used for children. And it is called colored because the items in this test all are non-verbal items, and the items in this test are largely colored. That is to be attractive to increase the face value for administration of to children. Pilamanku colorful hele, they will be interested and they will be motivated to attend the test. Yeah. Among Raven's progressive matrices and Raven's colored progressive matrices. In Raven's progressive matrices, there are 5 sets: A, B, C, D, E, and each set has 12 items, and each set is prepared to take up different skills of intelligence or different components of intelligence. प्रति जो 5टा सेट अच्छी से 5टा सेट प्रति सेट रो काम हल टू टैप ऑन डिफरेंट स्किल्स ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस एवं काइंड ताको प्रोग्रेसिव मैट्रिसेस बिली को आउची. Actually the test is in a form of matrix. Matrix, you know, any kind of rectangular format, and the test is in a matrix. Sabu test matrix re tiari is matrix le mere achi ebong matrix re gote part missing thibo. Sabu item re se matrix bitiru khonde mane koti jaithibo nothibo ta ebong relating to that there will be 6 sub mane parts in bill tole 6টা part thibo A, B, C, D. Now the person will have 1, 2, 3, 4 agree. The person will have to choose the missing part from among the lower part. जो जगहटा खाली अछि से जगह रे कोटा बेस्ट फिट करूछि सेटाबु बाछि एवं ताको आमे खाली एति जानिबा दरकार 60टा आइटम 5टा सेट प्रति सेट रे 12टा आइटम एवं प्रति सेट 1 to 12 the difficulty increases. First set, first item, second item, that too difficult. That is why it is called Raven's progressive matrices, because the items are progressively difficult. 1 ରୁ 2 कष्ट 2 ରୁ 3 कष्ट 3 ରୁ 4 कष्ट एमती जेमि 12 बेलू पहुंचाला 12 item is 12th item is the maximum difficult item. Same thing, set B, it goes for a higher level skill. Set 1 रे जो स्किल मेजर होची सेट बी रे इंटेलिजेंस रे हायर लेवल स्किल मेजर होची एमती हे कि आमे जाऊ तापरे वो सेट रु केते करेक्ट आंसर कला that has to be examined, and thereby there is a standard process by which we can calculate the IQ of a person. सेतुर आमे गोटे पिलार बा गोटे मनुष्यर IQ पाइबे. Similar is the test of ये, but in the colored progressive matrices items are there are 3 sets and items are 36. For adult, it is 5 sets, items are 60. But method and approach of measurement of intelligence is same, similar intelligence. When you are used a test for adults, you have to use the advanced form, and that is also an advanced form. But you have to use the adult form or the standard form, and if you are using it for children, you have to use the test for children. Then Kaufman's assessment battery for children. Kaufman is another test. Tapre cognitive assessment system. There are different kinds of tests which measure the IQ and similar cognitive aspects of children. Ame eko number unit 1 re sei guda ko ame discussion kori dei golu. Tapre tole rohichi kon jinisa. Now unit 2. Unit 1 ro kahar kichi pacharibar achi ki? Then unit 2, the measurement of
sir exam by actually co scale ta besi important ko dita
kaha pai
sir exam preparation pai ko scale besi
OS is number 1 intelligent, number 1 important, and then Raven's. The scale dita pacharigo parikha point of view OS is the number 1.
Okay, 3 or 4 dita
3 or 4 ha
Okay, sir. Thank you.
तापरे नेक्स्ट यूनिट हला the measurement of conceptual thinking, the Binet and Wechsler's scale. Now, माने मु काई कहि दोची the Binet scale and the Wechsler Binet, the primary scale that has been developed. Raven is a non-verbal scale of intelligence, and that is important. Binet Simon scale जो intelligence, that is also very, because they have developed the concept and conceptual thinking. Now, this second unit, you can say a critical analysis of these two tests, a critical view about these two tests, what these two tests do, and to what extent these tests are authentic by examining their conceptual ability to measure the conceptual thinking, because conceptual thinking is the primary matter of intelligence. ये दीटा को टेस्ट केते conceptual thinking measure करि पारुचंती সেই জিনিস গুড়াক আনালাইজ করা হয়েছে abstract attitude and conceptual thinking kind of things. তেণু characteristics of abstract attitude, characteristics of test of abstraction, আগ মানে কোয়া হচ্ছে যে conceptual thinking পাই গোটা abstraction is an important aspect of thing. We know some facts, but how to arrive at a conclusion from those facts is more important than knowing only those facts. तमे तले परीक्षा रे गोटे प्रश्न पडुची तमे बहुत जिंस तार तार माने फैक्ट्स जानिछ ताको उत्तर लिखिबा पई, किंतु whenever you are writing the answer, the demand is that to what extent you have conceptualized in abstract terms. माने करो आमे कहलु ते इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट यार वेसरा इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट यार किंतु if there is a critical evaluation about Wechsler's intelligence scale, I mean, to what extent the measurement being done by Wechsler's intelligence scale gives such a conceptual clarity, conceptual thinking, abstract conception. माने abstract और concrete भीतर difference जानी पड़छ ना नहीं. Abstract concrete है when you know some operation about a specific situation and thing, that is concrete. तमे पिलाटा स्कूल रे पाठ पढ़ी करी जानुची जे 5 into 4 is 20. That is a concrete concept in the mind of the child. किंतु से जेतले बाजार को जाउची फ्रूट्स किनिया पई गोटे फ्रूट रो दाम 4 टंका से 5 टा आनिला सिटी से 5 ताको 20 टंका दबो एई जिनिसटा को जदी से कॉन्टेक्स्ट वाइज कन्वर्सन कला, दैट इज abstract thinking. बुझी परछ ना नहीं. एग्जांपल ता 5 को जो पिला को 50 दबो 5 into 4 केते से इमीडिएटली कहि दबो 20, किंतु ताको बाजार को पठेबो जा 4टा पिजुली आनी करी 5टा पिजुली आनी करी आसी दुकानी कहला गोटे पिजुली दाम 4 टंका ताको जे 20 टंका दबा को पड़िबो. That is abstract thinking, that is contextual thinking, when you carry your thinking to the designated situation and purpose. Say भले तेणु यही जो टेस्ट गुड़ा का हमें करी देलु एको हमको we have to justify जो मैंने करिसेंती जे हां yes this is intelligence test. But if someone is good in intelligence, is he capable of managing the things appropriate to his intelligence? से जो बुद्धि तार बाहरला IQ 125 means he is good in intelligence IQ test, किंतु से IQ अनुसार जाई बाहर काम करि पारुछि कि आवश्यक तले ता IQ को सही अनुसार लगै करी से यूज करि पारुछि कि, that is abstract. तेनु तार सही to give that idea, this part is there जे केमिति हमें एई जो टेस्ट गुडा को यूज कलु, how are you going to justify that these are real abstract aspects of life. Raven's progressive matrices जने खाली चित्र देखि देई किंतु बुद्धि बाहर करलु हमें खाली चित्र देखुची से, किंतु हमें बुद्धि तो कहबुनी जे चित्र देखि करी बुद्धि. when we say that he is intelligent, we are supposed to announce that he can think do good things in life. ସେ intelligent ଯେହେତୁ ସେ ଭଲ କାମ କରିପାରିବ ସେ ଭଲ ପାଠ ପଢା ହଉ ଭଲ whatever maybe ଯଦି ସେ କଥା ନ ଘଟିଲା then the abstract nature of that process is not accepted. That is there. ସେଇଟା second ଜିନିଷ ସେଇଟା how these two tests are being ମାନେ ଆମର abstraction create କରିବାରେ abstract attitude create କରିବାରେ କେମିତି ଇଏ ହଉଛି ସବୁ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ବିଷୟରେ ସେଇଭଳିଆ second unit ରେ discussion is like that about all those things. ତାପରେ ଆଉ କେତେ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ରହୁଛି about the test cross cultural relevance. Cross cultural relevance means subsequently when psychology came into the fold of a science and people believed that psychology could be useful for society and other, then the question naturally arises, is psychology same for people all over the world? ପୃଥିବୀରେ ଯେତେ ଲୋକ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କର ସାଇକୋଲୋଜି କଣ ଏକା ଗୋଟିଏ ପାଠ କଣ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ଲାଗୁ ହବ? Then a new idea came to people which we call the cultural revolution of psychology. Cultural psychology but cross cultural psychology by various names we call them cross cultural psychology. Cross cultural psychology means if we define intelligence as something to be useful in life, it is not same for an American child and an Indian child. Same skill, same life approach cannot be equally successful in both these conditions. Therefore, we have to develop our own ways of estimating. We have that we call Indianization of psychology. All cultures they have different concept cross cultural psychology and its relevance to testing and measurement. ଆମେ ସେଇ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ତିଆରି କରିକି ଆମେରିକାର ପିଲାର ମାପିଲେ ସେ ଯାହା ତାର ଫଳ ଦବ ସେ ପିଲା ପାଇଁ ତା ବିଷୟରେ whatever we can say and conclude same test ଆଣିକି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ପିଲାଙ୍କର କଲେ we may not get the similar kind of findings and issues. ସେଇ 120 ରଖିଥିବା ଆମେରିକାନ ପିଲାର ଯାହା ରହିବ ଲାଇଫ ସ୍କିଲ୍ and performance ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ପିଲାର ସେୟା ରହିବନି because the test is not appropriate but test context is not appropriate. ଆମ ପାଇଁ ବୁଦ୍ଧିର କାମ କଣ ଆମ ପାଇଁ ବୁଦ୍ଧିର ଆବଶ୍ୟକତା କଣ ସେଇଟା ତାଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ମଧ୍ୟ ସେୟା ତାଙ୍କର ସେୟା ସମାନ ନୁହେଁ ଏକଦମ. There is variation. ସମାନତା ଅଛି generalizability ଅଛି but some kind of differences are there. ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଗୋଟେ cross cultural issues ଆସିଲା ସବୁ psychological testing ରେ testing and measurement science କଣ ତମର diagnostics in all fields of psychodiagnostic cultural relevance social relevance ସେଟାକୁ ମଧ୍ୟ taken into consideration and for that a new science grew up developed ଯୋଉମାନେ କହିଲେ ଯେ ନାଇଁ ଆମେ ତା ଭିତରେ cross cultural ଇଏ ରଖିବୁ to be more authentic to a particular culture. ଆମ ଦେଶ ପାଇଁ ଯୋଉଟା authentic ଆମେ ତାକୁ ୟୁଜ କରିବୁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଆମେ ତାକୁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ବହୁତ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡାର୍ଡରେ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ ଆବଶ୍ୟକତା ଅନୁସାରେ ସବୁ ପ୍ରକାରର ଟେଷ୍ଟର ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ ହେଇଛି ବା ତାଙ୍କ ଟେଷ୍ଟକୁ ଆଣିକିରି ଆମେ ଆମ ପାଇଁ ଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡାର୍ଡାଇଜ କରିଛୁ ଆମ ପାଇଁ କେମିତି ତାକୁ ବଦଳେଇକିରି ଆମ ପାଇଁ କେମିତି କାମ ଦବ that we have also done. ତେଣୁ ସେଇଟା ଗୋଟେ କଣ୍ଟେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ରସ୍ କଲ୍ଚର. ହଁ ଏନି କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ?
କିନ୍ତୁ ସାର୍ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାଇଡ ତ ଏପିଏ ର ରୁଲ୍ସ ରେଗୁଲେସନ ସବୁ ମାନୁଛନ୍ତି ନା ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ୍ସ
APA rules and regulation not for using a test. APA also admits that you have APA is finally the research guiding format, research guiding institution. American Psychiatric Psychological Association world रे ଗୋଟେ accepted format. କିନ୍ତୁ टेस्ट आमे जदि गोटे यूज कलु जो टेस्ट मन कर आमे गोटे टेस्ट यूज कलु नहीं करी ट्राइबल स्टूडेंट्स रावेन्स प्रोग्रेसिव मैट्रिसेस नहीं करी आमे ट्राइबल स्टूडेंट को यूज कलु आमे जदि प्रॉपर जस्टिफिकेशन न दे पारिलु हमर rationale for the using you will not get the APA sanction for the using that test. माने तमे मन करो आमे ट्राइबल पिलां को देलो रावेन्स प्रोग्रेसिव मैट्रिसेस रे टेस्ट करिया पे ताके इंटेलिजेंस इवन verbal नॉन verbal तो परम चलिबो verbal ओएस रो verbal टेस्ट ता देलो we know that they are verbally not competent but that doesn't mean that they don't have a adequate intelligence. ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ସିଲେକ୍ଟ କରୁ ଯେକୌଣସି ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଆକ୍ଟିଭିଟି ପାଇଁ whenever you are using a test you have to provide your rationale why you are going to use that test. ଲେଖିବାକୁ ପଡିବ rationale for using the test. जदि rationale proper rationale न दे परचो your test will not be accepted for that research
Okay.
बुझी होची ना नहीं
Okay.
APA मध्ये that standard is there सबू सबू देखते बेले देखिबे जने जे कोनोसी रिसर्च रिपोर्ट करूची लार्जर रिपोर्ट के पेपर रे जस्टिफिकेशन केते दउची होला केनि मनकर जने पीएचडी थीसी तमर मनकर डिजर्टेशन तुमको लिखिए पड़ो क्राइटेरिया फॉर सिलेक्शन ऑफ द टेस्ट से क्राइटेरिया तुमको लिखिए पड़ो व्हाई यू हैव सिलेक्टेड व्हाई नॉट द टेस्ट इज टू बी कंसीडर्ड नॉट एप्लीकेबल तुम जस्टिफाई करियो पड़ो यस आई एम टेकिंग द ट्राइबल स्टूडेंट्स एंड दिस इज द रीजन व्हाई आई एम यूजिंग दिस टेस्ट सेटा एपीए रो भी एपीए बिना ये रे रैशनल टेस्ट यूज ही परिबनी सॉरी गला दुई रो काम सेया मेजरमेंट तापर नेक्स्ट आसला मेजरमेंट ऑफ मेमोरी एंड क्रिएटिविटी प्रथम यूनिट गला मेजरमेंट डिटेल्स सेकंड यूनिट गला मेजरमेंट रो माने सब टेस्ट गुडा कर टोटल माने साइकोमेट्रिक प्रॉपर्टीज रिलायबिलिटी वैलिडिटी कल्चरल वैलिडिटी सब जिंस जस्टिफाई करिवो तनु सेकंड यूनिट रो क्वेश्चन आसले टिके डिफिकल्ट एक्सप्लिसिट एंड इम्प्लिसिट मेमोरी नाउ memory and creativity जेमते आमे इंटेलिजेंस मेजरमेंट आमर आवश्यक सेमती we are also for different reasons we are supposed to measure the memory now under certain psychodynamic diagnostic situation also memory assessment is required तो मन को प्रश्न आसीबो जे मेमोरी में आमे तो साइको डायग्नोस्टिक पढुचु हम काम होला क्लिनिकल लोक को डील करबा सीतरे मेमोरी मेजरमेंट रो कोन काम नो यस देयर आर सर्टेन इश्यूज क्लिनिकल इश्यूज वेयर memory is also a system of being victimized memory मजन ये affected हुए particularly मनकर supposing geriatric cases people of old age सेमानकर different memory issues अच्छी and therefore memory measurement is also another important thing and now next is also creativity same question may arise why creativity for clinical thing creativity is also a part of a mental functioning if the creativity is lost in some clinical situations creativity is also to be a part of our measurement ए तनु justify करूचे जे हमर memory और creativity measurement दरकार है now and memory तार कोन एटा डिटेल memory विषय देला subdivisions of long term memory तमे I think you all know the three systems of memory sensory memory short term memory long term memory खाली टिके खाली for your idea मैं कह दूँ जी short sensory memory is a very fast part of our memory system fast processing availing unit of our memory system that means whenever you know we get our memory from the environmental or otherwise internal stimuli प्रति मेमोरी आमर गोटे स्टिमुलस कंडीशन रो आसुची एवं से स्टिमुलस कंडीशन घटुची आइदर एनवायरनमेंट रे घटुची और इंटरनल एनवायरनमेंट रे घटुची मो भितर गोटे कोन पेन होची दैट इज आल्सो ए स्टिमुली फॉर मी तेन से जेते आसुची वी गेट दोस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स थ्रू आवर सेंस ऑर्गन्स हमें कोन गोटे देखिलु दैट वी गॉट थ्रू आवर सेंस ऑर्गन्स जेते बेले सेंस ऑर्गन को आसुची सेते बेले फॉर सम टाइम it is being held up in that system हम आखिरे देखले माने विजुअल हेले किछि समय आखिरे रहि जाउची सुनिले किछि समय काने very fractions of second एबो सेटा that is also a part of the beginning of the memory सेठी जो रहुची सेठी some activities are being conducted largely we call them as selective process माने हमें जेते इंफॉर्मेशन हम पाकू सब समय रे आसुची it's like thousands of information are coming मु एठी तुमको कहला बेले तुम चारिपटे विभिन्न प्रकार इनफॉरमेशन आसुची मोर भी आसुची किंतु ऑल दोज इनफॉरमेशंस आर नॉट टू बी कैरिड ऑन टू आवर सिस्टम तेनु सेंसरी मेमोरी सिस्टम रे हमर गोटे स्क्रीनिंग इज लार्जली बीइंग कंडक्टेड दिस व्हाट इनफॉरमेशन नीड्स टू बी पास्ड ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट हाउस शॉर्ट टर्म मेमोरी की तापरे से इनफॉरमेशन सिलेक्टेड इनफॉरमेशन दोज आर बीइंग ट्रांसफर्ड टू शॉर्ट टर्म मेमोरी short term memory is actually the most important part of the memory we call it as the working house of the memory जोटी processing total माने इंडस्ट्री रो पूरा काम जोटी होची तमे जदि कंपेयर करिवो गोटे किचन सहित ताले शॉर्ट टर्म मेमोरी हला जोठी रोसे होउची पूरा टोटल तेणु शॉर्ट टर्म मेमोरी की जाइकरी सिटी टोटल प्रोसेसिंग इज बीइंग कंडक्टेड for some time it takes for processing and processing means the final output or product will be created memory final product jota memory traces biochemical aspects of memory will be created and it will be transferred to long term memory for permanent store तापर जाइकरी से long term memory रे हमर सब बेले रहिची पुनी जेतेबेले हमर दरकार whenever we require that information we call it back by retrieval process पुनी short term memory के आनिबो then we use it we cannot use memory directly from long term तेणु सेति पई अनेक समय में long term रे थिले मध्ये we fail and we are not able to retrieve bring back that is a bigger process that you must be knowing in your other paper मु खाली कहि देली टिके बतन memory implicit and explicit memory assessment आसला एगुडा सबु टेस्ट ऑफ एक्सप्लिसिट मेमोरी बहुत प्रकार मेमोरी असेसमेंट लॉट्स ऑफ टेस्ट्स आर देयर बैटरी आर देयर केमिति तमरा डिफरेंट एस्पेक्ट्स एक्सप्लिसिट मेमोरी की तमरा केमिति implicit memory माने the memory that model says that we have certain things in the hidden in our unconscious those have been stored and it's not that easy to bring it back to our consciousness but explicit memory जोटा हमें पढिलु परीक्षा देलु एकलु सेकलु the memory part is easily accessible and we can measure by some simple methods and those are the methods jota rohichi adult memory information processing battery based on revised visual retention test the bucket selective reminding these are California verbal learning test एगुडा को बहुत प्रकार रो memory test अछि even when you are giving an माने performing an examination that is also a kind of memory test तमे परीक्षा रे जदि लॉन्ग टर्म क्वेश्चन सेतोले इट्स आल्सो ए काइंड ऑफ पार्टली नॉट फुली तबदर अलगा रीजनिंग अलगा जिंस अछि बट इट्स ए काइंड ऑफ मेमोरी टेस्ट बट फॉर्मल मेमोरी टेस्ट्स आर देयर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर देयर बहुत टेस्ट अछि ता भितरे एमएमक्यू ए टेस्ट उडा तो किछि टेस्ट पढी कि मन रखिबो देखिबो कोन से टेस्ट देन टेस्ट फॉर इम्प्लिसिट मेमोरी implicit memory largely whenever you are performing your memory behind that some kind of systems are there which regulate and create your memory it's not that your memory is just a storehouse and you bring it and you use it there are certain operations being conducted in your memory whenever you are retracting it reflecting it requiring it परीक्षा देला बेलू जहां तुम मेमोरी स्टोर रे अछि सेतिकी आसिकरी पहुंची जाउनी you make some kind of arrangement and that is what is in implicit memory and implicit memory is largely the nature of an organizational process and system in your memory supposing you have learned things about psychology and you have also learned things about sociology now your implicit memory will have some kind of organization how to bring psychology and sociology into a box together so that when it requires you can give some provisions of sociology in your psychology answer तमे psychology answer जदि sociology part गोटे भी कलो जोटा कि माने advanced level of understand माने using your memory हमें जोटा कहू जे analytical kind of memory being created now एटा हला ये प्रोसीड्यूरल मानकर परसेप्चुअल टेस्ट एगुडा सब आसी बहुत प्रकार टेस्ट अछि जोटी कि मेमोरी माने कोर मेमोरी रो कोर एस्पेक्ट जानबा पाए तम मेमोरी केते स्ट्रक्चरली एंड फंक्शनली एम्पावर्ड सेटा जानिया पाए इम्प्लिसिट मेमोरी सब टेस्ट करा जाए एनी क्वेश्चन फॉर दिस सरी गला एटा then future perspectives and conclusions now creativity जेमती memory is an important aspect of our mental processing our life processes our individual activity memory is a big concern for anybody and everybody memory failure hele memory lapses hele memory problems hele जने जानि परिबो जे हाउ इंपोर्टेंट इज मेमोरी जेमती सब जिंस इंपोर्टेंट मेमोरी इज इंपोर्टेंट And memory is in a way our source of life and life skill. ଆମେ memory ଯୋଗୁ ବଞ୍ଚିଛେ, memory ପାଇଁ ଆମ ଦୁନିଆ ଚାଲିଛି, ଆମ ଜୀବନ ଚାଲିଛି। ସେମିତି another important aspects of creativity in the life is creativity. If you take creativity in a very limited sense, creative ମାନେ ଆମେ କହିବୁ ଯେ research କରୁଛି, ଯେ scientist, ଯେ ନୂଆ ନୂଆ ଜିନିଷ invent କରୁଛି, it's not that. Creativity is a part of mental skill at every perspective of life. ସବୁ ସମୟରେ we are undertaking processes of creativity. ଆମେ ଆଗକୁ ଯିବା ପାଇଁ ହେଲେ memory ସହିତ creativity is also another important part. ଆମେ କେମିତି ଏ ଜିନିଷଟାକୁ ଫେସ୍ କରୁ, whenever we are getting a situation of problem, ଆମର ଗୋଟେ problem ଆସିଲା and we try to find a solution for that problem. There is another person who is capable of solving that problem more efficiently than you. ମୋଠୁ ଆଉ ଜଣେ ଆହୁରି ବହୁତ ଭଲରେ କାମଟି ଛିଣ୍ଡି ଦେଇ ପାରୁଛି, କରିଦେଇ ପାରୁଛି। Means there is some creativity. Creativity doesn't only mean ଯେ ତମେ you have to give something, some new idea about society and thing. It is also in a deeper level, it is also in your personal and life skill. But largely creativity is an advanced mental skill of any person. Now, creativity, the SOI assessment, structure of intellect assessment. ମୁଁ ଯୋଉ କଥାଟା କହିଲି, ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ intellect କଥା କହୁଛୁ, ବୁଦ୍ଧି କଥା କହୁଛୁ, memory କଥା କହୁଛୁ, all those things, they have an organized system in a person. Memory is not independent of your intelligence. Memory is not independent of your creativity. As a totality, they, at a point of time, at a cross section of the time, they are one aspect which we called your psyche. ତମ ମନ ତମର ସବୁ ମିଶିକିରି, ତମ ବୁଦ୍ଧି, ତମର creativity, ତମର memory, all they go together into a system. ସେଥିପାଇଁ we call it a structure of intellect model of creativity. ଯୋଉଟା ମାନେ ଯୋଉଟା ପ୍ରପୋଜ କରିଛନ୍ତି, ମୁଁ ଦେଖେଇ ଦଉଛି structure of intellect model. Guilford ର ଯୋଉ ମଡେଲ, ତା ଭିତରେ ତମେ ଯଦି ଦେଖିବ, ଯଦି Guilford ମଡେଲ ବାହାର କରିକିରି ସେ କହୁଛନ୍ତି the human intelligence model as has been advanced, as has been given by ଆମେ ଯୋଉଟାକି intelligence test, ସେ ଯେତିକି କହିଲେ ସେ 6ଟା 7ଟା 10ଟା ଏଇ ଲେବୁଲରେ there are components of intelligence. But Guilford said that all those things taken together, there are 180 components. 5 মানে 6, মানে the 3 dimensions having 6 sides. তোমার Guilford जो cube model of intellect, সেটা কি জানিছো না নাই? ওটা cube model, ଯୋଉଟା cube কোন anybody cube model ଅଛି କି? ଦେଖିଲ Guilford cube ଭିତରେ ଚିତ୍ର ଅଛି କି? ସେଇଠି ତଳେ describe କରିଛି, ସେ କ୍ୟୁବଟା describe କରିଛି, ଯୋଉଟା କି କୁହାହଉଛି ଯେ ମାନେ intelligence and creativity, ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ମଡେଲ କହୁଛି intelligence and creativity, they are not different parts of the system, they are together system, they go together and there are ମାନେ products or output, ତାଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ 3ଟା ଜିନିଷ ମୁଁ କହି ଦଉଛି ଏଠି। product କୁଆଡେ ଗଲା? Distinct types of divergent thinking, one type symbolic, semantic and behavioral, 6 products, 6ଟା product ଆଉ 5ଟା ୟୁନିଟ୍ ଅଛି। ତମେ ସେଟାକୁ ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବ, Guilford ର ମଡେଲଟା ଦେଖିଦବ, ଯଦି ପାରୁଛ ଏବେ ବି ଦେଖିଦିଅ Guilford ମଡେଲ ଅଫ ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ। ସେ ଗୋଟେ ଯଦି ଇମେଜକୁ ଯିବ, ଗୋଟେ କ୍ୟୁବ ଦେଖେଇବ, ବେସରେ 6ଟା, ହାଇଟରେ 5ଟା and ୱାଇଡ୍ସରେ 6ଟା, ଏଇଭଳିଆ।
ସାର୍ ଦେଖଉଛି।
ହଁ, ସେଇଟା ତାର ଯୋଉ 3ଟାକ ଡାଇମେନସନ ଦେଖିଲେ, ଯୋଉଟାକରେ ଡାଇମେନସନରେ 6ଟା ୟୁନିଟ୍, ଗୋଟେ ଡାଇମେନସନରେ 5ଟା ୟୁନିଟ୍, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଡାଇମେନସନରେ 6ଟା ୟୁନିଟ୍, ତାମାନେ 6 into 6 into 5, 180 kinds of unit। ତା ଭିତରେ କ୍ରିଏଟିଭିଟି ୟୁନିଟ୍ସ ମଧ୍ୟ ରହୁଛି। ମୁଁ ଖାଲି ଇ କରି ଦଉଛି future perspectives and conclusions. Data from the test of a cognitive function. Now finally you have some data by using some kind of and this is the kind of thing that you are supposed to know about when you are conducting the use of neuropsychological assessment. ମୁଁ କାଲି ତମକୁ କହିଛି କିଛିଟା neuropsychological assessment ଅଛି. Neuropsychological assessment gives you information about your conductivity, neural conductivity, body, even तमरो माने different aspects of thing occurring in the brain. You know that your entire psychological system is based on a neurobiological processes that includes your conduction system, neural conduction. ତମ ଶରୀରର ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଜାଗାରୁ information, how they are conducted, how they go to your brain, how brain interprets them, and those are being maintained by some kind of biochemical approaches. We call them endocrine balance. We call them different kinds of things are there. Then neurobiological or neuropsychological measurements, sometimes the psychodynamics, and you are specific it for people of clinical aspect. ତେଣୁ ଅନେକ ସମୟରେ ଆମକୁ neurobiological test କରିକିରି ଜାଣିବାକୁ ପଡେ ଯେ sources of the clinical behavior, so that intervention becomes easier. କଣ ହେଇଛି? Is there any kind of pathology with respect to endocrine secretion? Endocrine secretion ne कोठी किछि असुविधा ହେଇଛି कि कोठी neural conductivity रे को part of the brain किबा part of the body कोठी neural transmission conductivity रे problem ହେଇଛି कि कोठी flow रे problem ହେଇଛି कि ए सब जिंस हेकिरी आमे टेस्ट यूज करूछु neuropsychological test. सेति पे विभिन्न बैटरी अछि, psychological system अछि, किंतु largely in order to have confirmatory test we use the neuropsychologists. Physical test मध्ये आमे कराउ neuropsychological test. Physical test is also a part of a consideration in psychological aspects. I mean neurology पाखरे test करेकरी जानू जे this is where the thing is happening. जो गुडा तमे देखोछो brain scanning, brain mapping, by जो ECG, EEG, जेते those are kinds of things. ता संगे psychological battery मध्ये अछि.
Sir, seizure is also neuropsychological disease. Seizure?
हाँ हाँ natural seizure माने जोटा आसुची brain रो भाई एरु आसुची जो epileptic seizure तो.
Yes, sir.
हाँ epileptic seizure is considered and we अजे माने biopsychological disorder आमे ताकू we read it in our syllabus. Epilepsy is a neuropsychological autism, not only epilepsy. There are number of diseases. Autism is also a neurobiological disorder. And in that case, along with psychological aspects of testing and intervention, we have to do also medical and other kinds of intervention. Seizure ପାଇଁ ମଧ୍ୟ ସେଇଆ neuropsychological testing and programs are necessary. କିନ୍ତୁ psychological test ମଧ୍ୟ ଅଛି ଯୋଉଠିକି ଆମେ behavioral level ରେ ମଧ୍ୟ judge କରିପାରିବୁ ଯେ what could have been the neuropsychological issue. କାରଣ every neuropsychological system is also under the control of the brain and behavior. ତେଣୁ brain behavior ରୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଆମେ we can make, and this is joint venture between the neuropsychological professional and clinical psychologists. They go together in order to determine what is happening and what will be the kind of thing that will be there. These are some of the things about the third unit. ଆଉ ଯାହା ଅଛି ସବୁ ଟେଷ୍ଟ ଗୁଡାକ ଖାଲି ଦିଆ ହେଇଛି, ମୁଁ ଖାଲି ଦେଖି ଦଉଛି ଆଉ କିଛି ଅଛି କି ୟୁନିଭର୍ସାଲ ନନ୍ ଭର୍ବାଲ ଇଣ୍ଟେଲିଜେନ୍ସ ଟେଷ୍ଟ, Wechsler's scale of intelligence. एको पढ़िले you will have a greater idea about the different types of tests being used and the utility and the kinds of tests that you need. The reference to which name. Now, both color reference, notes and all that. Sorry, Ola. Now, anything that anybody want to ask about this kind of thing? कौन जानिबा पे चाहन्छ जदि किछि पचार or else we'll close the class. ଆମର ଗୋଟେ interaction part usually ରହିବା କଥା last part ରେ ପଢେଇ ସାରିଲା ପରେ ଯଦି you are interested for any kind of interaction we will go. Anybody from the examination point of view you have to read certain texts
ଆରେ
like
ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲିସିଟି ଆଉ ଇମ୍ପ୍ଲିସିଟି
memory,
ଆଜ୍ଞା
explicit and implicit memory. Explicit memory means when you express your memory content into a format. ପରୀକ୍ଷା ଦେଲ ପରୀକ୍ଷାରେ ତମର ଯୋଉ memory କାମ କରିକିରି ପରୀକ୍ଷାରେ ତମେ ଲେଖିଲ that
ସାର୍
becomes
ଟିକେ ସାର୍ ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ୍ when you express your
when you express your content of a long-term memory into an output or product. Implicit ହେଲା କଣ? When you give an output to your product, it is not independent of your internal memory ability. ତମେ ସମାନ ଜିନିଷ ପଢିଲ ମୁଁ ଖାଲି ତମକୁ explicit ଆଉ implicit ଭିତରେ difference କହି ଦଉଛି ଦି ଜଣ ପିଲା ଏକାଠି ବଢିକିରି ସମାନ ଜିନିଷ ବସିକିରି ସମାନ ରାତି ଯାକ ବସିକିରି ପରୀକ୍ଷା ପାଇଁ ପାଠ ପଢିଲେ ମନେ ରଖିଲେ ସେ ମନେ ରଖିଲା ସମାନ facts ମନେ ରଖିଲେ ପରୀକ୍ଷାରେ ଦି ଜଣ ଯାକ ଯାଇ ଲେଖିଲେ memory came into action for their examination performance. କିନ୍ତୁ ପରୀକ୍ଷା ରେଜଲ୍ଟ ବାହାରିଲା ବେଳକୁ ଜଣେ ପାଇଛି 20 ରୁ 10 ଆଉ ଜଣେ ପାଇଛି 20 ରୁ 15. Is it possible or not?
Yes, sir, it is possible.
ତମେ କହିବ ମୁଁ ତ ଯାହା ପଢିଥିଲି ସେ ଜାଣିଛି ସେ ତ ସେଇଆ ଜାଣିଲା ସେ କାଇଁ 15 ରଖିଲା ମୁଁ କାଇଁ 10 ରଖିଲି ତେଣୁ ସାର୍ ନମ୍ବର ପାର୍ସେଲ କରି ଦେଇଦେଲେ. No. Implicit memory, he has a better performance on implicit memory to make it contextual, to make it more relevant. That is implicit memory. ମନେକର ତମେ କଣ କରିଛ ଲେଖିଦେଇ ଯାଇଛ କୌଣସି ପଏଣ୍ଟଟାକୁ ଅଣ୍ଡରଲାଇନ୍ କରିନ ସେ କଣ କରିଛି ସବୁ ପଏଣ୍ଟକୁ ଅଣ୍ଡରଲାଇନ୍ କରିଛି ଟିଚର ଯେହେତୁ ତା ପଏଣ୍ଟ ଗୁଡାକ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ସାଙ୍ଗେ ଦେଖିଦେଲା ଟିଚର ସାଟିସ୍ଫାଏଡ୍ ତାକୁ ନମ୍ବର ଦେଇଦେଲା because he has implied the implicit capacity of the memory. Implicit means the kind of organizational features, the kind of core features that support the memory. বুঝতে না নাই explicit is just the important facial aspects of memory. Implicit is the decorative aspect, the constructive aspect, the organizational aspects. ଗୋଟେ ପିଲା ମାନେ explicit memory ତାର ସେ କହି ଦଉଛି ମୁଁ ଯୋଉଟା କହିଲି ମାନେ abstraction of things that involve implicit memory ପାଇଁ ବହୁତ ପ୍ରକାରର characteristics ମାନେ skill ଅଛି ଗୋଟେ ପିଲା ସେଇ ଜିନିଷ କହିବ ଆଉ ତମେ ସେଇ ଜିନିଷ କହିବ ସେ ଜାଣିଛି ତମେ ଜାଣିଛ କିନ୍ତୁ କହିବା ଭିତରେ ଡିଫରେନ୍ସ ଆସୁଛି because your implicit level is higher than the child. ହେଲା anything else or else we will close. ତମର ହଁ ମୁଁ ଏହା ତମକୁ କହୁଛି ତମେ ମାନେ ମତେ କାଲି ମୁଁ ପଚାରୁଥିଲି ମୋର ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ଲାସ ବି ରହିଛି ମାନେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ଲାସ ମାନେ ଆଉ ଥିଓରି ପେପର ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି ମୁଁ କାଲି ତମେ କହିଲ ତ ମୁଁ ଭାବିଲି ବୋଧେ ନାହିଁ ବୋଲି କିନ୍ତୁ ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ ଦେଖିଲି ସେଟା ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି ଏଇଟା ତ କାଲି ଗୋଟେ ଥିଓରି ପେପର ସରିଯିବ ନେକ୍ସଟ ପୁଣି 21, 24, 25, 27 ଏଇଟା ତମମାନଙ୍କର ନା ନାହିଁ ନା ଆଉ କାହାର ପେପର ହେଲା MPCE-23 intervention in counseling.
That's counseling though.
Oh, counseling ପିଲାଙ୍କର ମାନେ it's not for you.
No sir, it's not for us.
ଆଚ୍ଛା 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 ତାପରେ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିକାଲ ଯୋଉଟା ଅଛି ତମର ନା ଆଉ କାହାର
ଏ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିକାଲ ରେ ସାର୍ ଆମର ଅଛି
28/3/4 MPCE-14
ସେଟା ଆମର
14 ଟା ତମର
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ତା ମାନେ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ନେକ୍ସଟ ମାନେ 21st ରୁ ଯୋଉଟା ଆରମ୍ଭ ହବ ସେଟା ଅନ୍ୟ ପିଲାମାନେ ନାଇଁ
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ହଉ ଠିକ ଅଛି for today I hope we don't have to go further. Kichi kara jaha achi, finally jodi bhi kichi achi, tomorrow is the last class, you can ask. Hala? Now, thank you, close.
Sir, namaste.
Namaskar.